Good evening. I would like to call to order the regular meeting of the Newport News School Board for Tuesday, August 18th, 2026. On behalf of the members of the school board and Dr. Mitchell, I welcome each of you present this evening and those who are watching on TV and online. We will begin tonight's meeting with the invocation and pledge to the flag. Here to do the honors is Mary Bell Sumra, Executive Director of Special Education and Student Support Services.
Good evening, Madam Chair Dr. Best, Vice Chair Ms. Alger, members of the school board, and Superintendent Dr. Mitchell. I am honored to be here this evening to share the invocation as we prepare to begin a new school year. Tonight, I want to share a poem about the power of what we bring to one another and what becomes possible when we offer our gifts in service of something greater than ourselves. It is by Alberto Rios, and it is titled, When Giving is All We Have. We give because somebody gave to us. We give because nobody gave to us. We give because giving has changed us. We give because giving could have changed us. We have been better for it. We have been wounded by it. Giving has many faces. It is loud and it is quiet, big though small, diamond and wood nails. Its story is old, the plot worn and the pages too. But we read this book anyway, over and again. Giving is, first and every time, hand to hand, mine to yours, yours to mine. You give me blue and I give you yellow. Together, we are simple green. You gave me what you did not have, and I gave you what I had to give. Together, we made something greater from the difference. And now, please join me by standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The next item on tonight's agenda is school board recognitions. Dr. Mitchell, please join me at the podium. This evening, we have the honor of welcoming our new student representative to the school board, Cameron Smith. Mr. Smith is a senior at Ward High School. He brings a wealth of leadership to this position, and he is active in numerous schools and community organizations. Mr. Smith, please come forward. Your family members are welcome to join you. You're welcome.
And grandparents
Come on,
too.
grandparents?
Yes, grandparents too.
Grandparents, you're welcome. Come on. Yes, yes. Mr. Smith, as school board chairwoman, I have the honor and privilege of leading your oath of commitment. Please raise your right hand. Please repeat after me. I, Cameron Smith, do solemnly affirm that I will support the mission of Newport News Public Schools.
I, Cameron Smith, do solemnly affirm that I will support the mission of Newport News Public Schools.
And I will faithfully perform my duties as the student representative to the school board.
And I will faithfully perform my duties as the student representative to the school board.
I will attend school board meetings and participate in board functions.
I will attend school board meetings and participate in board functions.
I will serve as co-facilitator to the superintendent's student advisory group on education.
I will serve as the co-facilitator to the superintendent's student advisory group on education.
I will contribute to school board discussion.
I will contribute to school board discussion.
I will strive to fulfill the responsibilities of this position while excelling in my studies.
I will strive to fulfill the responsibilities of this position while excelling in my studies,
According to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my abilities.
Mr. Smith, congratulations and welcome to school board. Would you like, yes. Would you like to offer a few comments?
Good evening, everyone. As I step in this position, first of all, I want to express my gratitude for the honor to serve as student representative to the school board. I look and strive towards a division where students, staff, and faculty, community members, all of us here in this room, we recognize the importance of uplifting each and every student to succeed. When we make sure that our students serve as leaders, as community members, we'll achieve our mission of making students who are not just really ready to move on into the world, but really take on the challenges that it will face as this world is rapidly changing. Thank you.
Thank you, and to his parents and grandparents, you have every reason to be proud. So we're looking forward to working with you. You may be seated at this time.
Picture.
Oh, I'm sorry, we need to get a picture. Come back here. So sorry, come right in front of the dais. Come. At this time, we're going to take a short break so that our presenters and guests and their families may leave if they wish to do so. You are certainly welcome to stay, so stand in recess briefly. Thank you. The next item on tonight's agenda is I'm sorry. During our regular meetings, we provide time for the public to address the school board. These opportunities are scheduled in the early part of our agenda and towards the end of the meeting. As advertised, citizens may submit comments via email up to 30 minutes prior to our meeting time to be included in the official meeting record. For those of you joining us in person, the board considers this an opportunity to listen to your comments. Please understand that we will consider your concerns. We ask that you comply with our 3-minute time limit. As you begin your comments, a green light will come on. A yellow light signals that you have 30 seconds remaining, and a red light and beep indicates that your time is up. As your name is called, please come forward. We will first have Miss Mary Boss, and she will be followed by Miss Rhonda Williams. She is not here. We will go on. Miss Rhonda Williams, and she will be followed by Miss Kishana White Mazzell.
Dr. Mitchell, members of the board, good evening. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak tonight. My name is Rhonda Williams, and I have a child who does attend Newport News Public Schools. I'm here on behalf of parents and those in the community who have concerns about a revised policy, specifically JB-P. This allows the school staff to use a new name actually, and pronouns for our children without telling their parents. Specifically, it states under the student privacy / confidentiality section that when parents or guardians of a minor student do not agree with the student's request to adopt a new name and pronouns, the school division needs to determine whether to respect the student's request, abide by parents' wishes to continue using their legal name and sex assigned at birth, or develop an alternative that respects both students and parents. An example was given in that policy, and it stated that students, while at school, will be addressed by the name and pronoun consistent with their gender identity, while using their legal name and pronouns when communicating with their parents. So to me, this sounds like lying and deception, something that as parents, we teach our children not to do. Children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. Thou shalt not lie or bear false witness, because it's not right. These are simple truths that we teach our children. God gave us the responsibility when He made us parents. It takes a village, absolutely, right, to raise our children. And I believe that Newport News Public Schools are a huge part of that village. We need you. But this requires us to be on one accord. This requires us to have one voice when it comes to what is allowed to go on with our students, with our children. It requires what I like to call hot communication, honest, open, and transparent. It requires partnership, not takeover. We want to be able to trust that there will be no secrets, that parents won't be kept in the dark when it comes to difficult decisions our children may be facing, whether we agree with them or not. These revisions seem like a betrayal of trust with families. Policy JB-P should strengthen families, not create a wedge between parent and their children. Schools should support families, not take their place, and not support lies and deceit. Please teach our children to honor the decisions that parents have made for them. Let's start this school year off right. Please revise this provision. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Kashonda White Mazzell, and she will be followed by Ivana Jones.
Good evening, members of the board, superintendent. I will not spend my entire 3 minutes reviewing the due process for the 2025-2026 school year. The procedures are clearly outlined on pages 46 through 53 of the Rights and Responsibility Handbook, including the role of the school board members. I have followed the chain of command. I have contacted the superintendent on 3 different occasions. The first one, I did not get any response. The second, she redirected me to Dr. Blow, whom I did have several correspondence with. We disagreed. I then resubmitted my appeal to Dr. Mitchell. That was submitted on July the 27th. I have yet to receive any response in regards to that. The purpose of the chain of command is not to send a parent back to the same individuals whose actions are being challenged or who have already failed to respond. Under DIEA, after the 10th day of removal of educational services, services must begin for a student to continue to make progress towards their IEP goals. My daughter unfortunately received no educational service until 16 days after being removed from school, 5 days beyond which the law requires. And additionally, she is still missing instructional hours. No one has yet minutes. No one has yet reached out to me to say, Ms. White Mazel, these minutes will be given on the next school year. No correspondence as to when those minutes that she is owed will be given to her. On January the 8th, 2026, she was denied access to Newport News Public Schools altogether. State and federal law prohibits a school division from cutting off educational service for a student with disabilities during a suspension. The law also states in Virginia Regulations 8 VAC 20-81-186 that is against the law for them to cut off services, which that was done to my daughter. Services were not given to her. I had to call and request that she be allowed to do work at home on her computer. Okay, during a recorded meeting. Okay, so I have repeatedly made several attempts to the school board, to the superintendent, in regards to the concerns and issues that I have, that the school division has been, as far as them being able to address issues with my daughter, her getting her minutes, her being put out of school over the time. And yes, Dr. Best, you did, at the second meeting that I attended, you did come out and address me and my family, even after that.
Thank you.
I'm pretty sure my daughter was not the first student or family to endure this. Maybe other parents became exhausted, frustrated, or simply restless from going from one person to the next, asking for help and receiving little to no response. Maybe some decided it was easier to stop fighting than to continue knocking on doors that would not open, but that will not be the case here. I am going to continue fighting for my child, and I am going to stand up for every other student and family who has been wronged, ignored, or made to feel like their concerns didn't matter. This is bigger than one child. This is about accountability. It's about transparency. It's about making sure parents don't have to fight this hard just to have their children's rights respected. If there are other families who have experienced similar situations, I want you to know you are not alone and you do not have to remain silent. What is happening now, you may very well be the beginning of a Me Too movement for families and students in Newport News, Virginia, a movement where people finally feel empowered to speak up about what they have experienced and demand better. I'm not backing down. This is only the beginning.
Thank you all. Have a great evening.
Thank you. Next is Mr. Vincent Johnson, and they will be followed by Mr. Mark Jordan.
Good evening, board members. My name is Vincent Johnson, and as a resident and grandparent of 11 kids, 6 going to the Newport News schools, I'm a believer in Jesus Christ and a man of faith. I'm deeply upset and hurt about policy JB-P and all the unrighteous things going on in our country, our state, and our city. In our schools, school staff should never allow to socially transition your child at school while keeping you in the dark. Parents should never be kept in the dark about major decisions involving their child. School staff should never be allowed to use a new name and pronouns for your child without telling you. Parents should know and deserve to know if this is happening. If not, put God first in all things in our decision making. Things only get worse. I'm reminded so many years ago when they took prayer out of schools, and look what is happening now. Girls could lose privacy in their own locker rooms and restrooms. Girls deserve privacy and should feel safe in their own locker rooms and restrooms. Board members, please protect the right of parents to direct the education, moral upbringing, and healthcare decisions of their children. I'm reminded in 1989 when a youth pastor named Janie Tinkenberg in Holland, Michigan, created the acronym WWJD. What would Jesus do? Jesus would not have parents in the dark wondering what is going to happen with their children. Jesus would not have girls and boys locker rooms. Jesus would adopt a policy that protects children, respects parents, and restores trust with families. Our country, our state, our city must make Jesus the center of their lives again. The Bible tells us, blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord. Board members, schools should act in partnership with, not in place of families. There should be prior notification and parental consent for any materials touching on sensitive topics. We must all be on one accord. Trust is built on transparency. We accept and demand complete openness from teachers, administrators, and the school board. It is not the role of the public education system to information or not as barrier between a child and their parents. And please prohibit staff from concealing information about students from their families. I'm reminded of the story of Sage Blair, a 14-year-old girl who was socially transitioned as a boy in Appomattox County. Her family was never notified. This led to her running away and enduring dangerous trafficking situations in Maryland. We will continue to fight and stand for our children, no matter what. Board members, I am asking that you hear God's heart and all of our hearts who are for protecting our rights of parents and guardians. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Thank you. Next is Mr. Vincent Johnson. I'm sorry, it's Mr. Vincent Johnson. Mark Jordan, and he will be followed by Ms. Adina Rivera.
Good evening, school board and Mr. Dr. Mitchell. Thank you for this opportunity. My name is Mark Jordan. I've lived, worked, and taught in Newport News for over 30 years. I'm here because policy JBP impacts relationships of every family in the city. I'm here to ask why you're again creating policies altering parental rights and student privacy protections when the people and the courts have repeatedly and clearly rejected such policies. And why were those protections and rights removed from policy prior to public discussion and parents' opportunity to vote on them? Allowing staff to secretly use new names and pronouns for our children is blatantly dishonest, and it's a betrayal of the trust that we as parents have placed in the school board. Staff socially transitioning a child at school presents life-changing ramifications on someone else's child and the entire family associated with them. This revised policy is known to conflict with published state and federal laws and policies, and likely to result in federal investigations, expensive lawsuits, and possible loss of grant funding. Look what just happened in just the past week with Harvard University. Who will pay for those costs? Would it be us, citizens? Are any of you prepared to cover the $17 million in just federal costs that would be lost if that grant funding was cut? I believe any elected official proposing, let alone voting for, any policy or legislation which is on the face of it contrary to the Constitution and stated law and policy should be held accountable for it. With that in mind, I ask you, please, as a citizen of Newport News, as a citizen of Virginia, please prove your faithfulness to us, the citizens and parents of the children that you have been charged with. And please restore strong parental rights and privacy protections for the children, for the parents, for the families. Reverse these changes to JBP and commit to not entertaining such changes in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Adina Rivera, and she will be followed by Ms. Shaquita Hubbard.
Good evening, members of the board. I do apologize for speaking so fast. I do have a lot to get out. With this new JVP policy change, you have put our children in danger. You have placed teachers in an uncomfortable middleman position, and you have successfully sent a message to any parents opposed to your views that you don't care about them. If you think I am being brutal, let me just read you some quotes from the new policy under the section titled Student Identification, paragraph 1. Quote, all schools will allow students to assert a name and gender pronouns that reflect their gender identity without any substantiating evidence nor any required minimum duration of expressed gender identity. Paragraph 2. In a situation where parents or guardians do not agree with the student's request to adopt a new name and pronouns, the school division will need to determine whether to respect the student's request, abide by the parent's wishes to continue using the student's legal name and sex assigned at birth, or develop an alternative. It goes on to say a plan may include addressing the student at school with their name and pronoun consistent with their gender identity, while using the legal name and pronoun associated with the sex assigned at birth when communicating with parents. Paragraph 3 then says school staff should be prepared to support the safety and welfare of transgender students and gender nonconforming students when their parents are not affirming. So the parents exercised their rights and they said no. What will happen when you raise a child to not respect someone when they say no? You raise generations of people who do not respect boundaries, much like you are not respecting any parental boundaries. Biological males will now be allowed into biological female restrooms and locker rooms and vice versa. Under the section titled Access to Facilities, paragraph 3, quote, if schools maintain separate restrooms, locker rooms, and other facilities for males and female students, will be allowed to use a facility that corresponds with their gender identity, end quote. You do offer in paragraph 4, at the request of any student, schools will offer alternative arrangements such as separate changing schedule or use of nearby private area. Does the equal treatment apply towards the biological male and female students who say no? Will you also treat them fairly and equally by offering them separate changing areas? Or are you going to force their compliance by threatening discrimination charges? The previous version already allowed use of facilities of the opposite sex if the child was diagnosed with gender dysphoria by a medical professional. This ensured it was safe for all students because it prevented pretenders from targeting innocent children through a licensed screening process. I urge you strongly as a parent to even an autistic child to reverse this, because as previously stated by people who came before me, this is a violation of what we teach our children not to do. Don't lie. You are separating families by allowing secrets to foster between them, teachers, and parents. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Sakita Hubbard, and she will be followed by Ms. Jackie Battison.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. I'm standing here today as a mother, an advocate, and the founder of Living with Disabilities and Weekend LWD 501c. My biggest joy in life is my children, despite the challenges of them living with disabilities. I have always considered their needs because I understand that I have to encourage them to discover and enjoy life. Going to school is something that's supposed to be memorable. Well, today I want to address some serious concerns regarding the exclusion and the lack of representation of the special education students within Newport News Public Schools. And excuse me if I get a little emotional, because this is emotional for me. My son Jordan was a member of the senior class of 2026. This past senior year was incredibly challenging. Despite my proactive communication with teachers, staff, to ensure that he was able to participate in traditional senior activities, Jordan and his classmates were excluded from celebratory events that the general education had the right to participate in, and that was decisions made by others. Most disturbing, this year after purchasing a school yearbook, my son and his classmates were eliminated from the yearbook. Their name nor their picture was in the yearbook anywhere. Despite that, I have volunteered with the school for 3 years. My sister and I teaching them CPR, assisting with extracurricular activities, and the Special Olympics, joining Newport News Public Schools My son and his classmates were left out of the yearbook entirely, not able to participate or be advertised as you guys being told in advertising as well as a united, inclusive school. Our children have the right to be included and recognized equally. This exclusion reflects a critical failure in communication, compassion, and diligence required by Newport News Public School without discrimination. Although this might not have happened intentionally, the results is emotional for me, and it has affected my son and his classmates' ability to be fully accepted and celebrated in a year that will be memorable for the rest of their lives. Where this also can affect their confidence in their self and their confidence in the rest of you. While the school representatives has recently contacted me, it took me numerous attempts to get any acknowledgement from any of you. Given my past experiences with the current situation, I do not have confidence that these systematic issues are going to be addressed. I am demanding that you guys have a public apology regarding the exclusion of the special needs students. I'm requiring an official committee to meet with the special needs family to outline and discuss the necessary steps to create an inclusive,
Excuse me,
united,
ma'am.
supportive
Ma'am,
environment.
I'm sorry, your 3 minutes are up. I'm gonna ask someone from secondary. Is your child at high school?
Yes, he is.
Okay. Can someone please meet with this parent?
I
outside?
appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Miss Jackie Batterson, and she will be followed by Dr. James Graves.
My name is Jackie Batterson, and I am a resident of Newport News. I am also a member of the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of the Peninsula. Tonight, I would like to address 2 issues. The first is my support for the school board to vote in favor of bargaining rights and contract negotiations for the employees of this school division. The city has already voted in favor of this for their employees. There is no reason for school employees to be treated as if they are not as important. These employees are empowered to care for the children in this school system. They should be treated with the respect and dignity they deserve. Secondly, school is about to begin, and our transgender children will again enter into an environment that we hope will be safe and supportive. Unfortunately, every day we read about another group of bigoted politicians or groups who are determined to take away every right that has been fought for these children, including medical care. I listened to a teacher in June discuss the importance of being a safe space for any child in the school system, be they a cis child or a child of the LGBTQIA community. As she said, teachers and other school personnel spend more time with students than the students do at their own homes. It's important to any child who seeks them out that they be assured that many things they may say may be held in confidence. This means every child in the school system. They are often the ones who identify issues with a child that maybe the child is not able to verbalize on their own. They are also able to recognize bullying when it occurs, even though a child may be afraid to report it. Everyone has the right to live free from prejudice and bigotry. This has never been a guarantee, but one that requires us to fight for and defend. Unfortunately, today, we see politicians and right-wing religious leaders who are not only drumming up hatred toward our children, but people of other races, women, and immigrants. We cannot afford to look back in time, but to look ahead to a time when everyone can live peacefully together. This is something to work toward, not against. I will end with this. You may give them your love, but not your thoughts, for they have their own thoughts. You may house their bodies, but not their souls, for their souls live in the house of tomorrow, which you cannot visit, not even in your dreams. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. James Graves, and he will be followed by Joshua Hughes.
Good evening, school board members, Madam Chair, Madam Vice. You were there. Where the Newport News City Council unanimously voted for collective bargaining for the city workers. They made history beyond what they heard, the negativity they heard. They took a step. They took a step for their city workers. That to the rim. They made a decision to say, okay, it's okay to have people sit at the table and have a voice to be heard. That's all it was. Sit at the table. Hear what people have to say. So now we're here on Action 5.02 that we have a resolution for the Newport News School Board to make that same decision. I want to thank you because you kept your word. You kept your word to us. And some people just don't know that Newport News Public Schools get all their money for the city. And it just didn't make any sense for you to vote yes and the city vote no, then we're in trouble. So you waited. You told me to wait. I told our people to wait. Now you've heard them. You've heard their voice. You've seen their vote. Let's make the right decision. Let's make history as the first public school system in this region to come to the table and hear from our staff and educators on what needs to be done so we all can work together for our students, for our family, and for our community. I appreciate the opportunity to speak, and let's get busy. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Joshua Hughes will be followed by Ms. Carolyn Jones.
Good evening, Chair, Vice Chair, and members of the school board. My name is Josh Hughes. I live in the North District, and I'm here tonight because public education should reflect two fundamental principles. Every student deserves dignity, and every worker deserves a voice. Since we are appealing to religion, these fall under the biblical concept of Betzim Elohim and Kavod Ha-Biriot. It's dignity and that they are made in the image. And that includes all people. First, I urge this board to continue protecting LGBTQIA plus students, including the policy JBP. Every child who walks through the doors of Newport News Public Schools deserves to know that they are safe, respected, and valued. LGBTQIA plus students are not just political talking points, they are our children, our neighbors, and our members of our community. They deserve the same opportunity to learn without fear, harassment, and discrimination as every other student. Safety being listed first because that is and should be the top priority of the district. Students of this demographic are at a higher risk of having safety issues both at home and at school. The current policy addresses much of that. Second, I strongly support collective bargaining for educators and school employees. Teachers and support professionals are not simply another expense on a balance sheet. They are skilled professionals who keep this school division functioning every single day, and they deserve a meaningful seat at the table with decisions about their wages, benefits, and working conditions in the classroom. We can choose something better: dignity for students, a voice for educators, and respect for organized labor and responsible stewardship of public dollars. I ask this board and other elected members in the city and in the Commonwealth to firmly stand for all of these and continue to move Newport News forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Carolyn Jones.
I'm a teacher here in Newport News Public Schools and a Newport News resident. Good news and bad news tonight. First of all, I want to thank you again for the improvements to policy JBP that you made earlier this year, respecting students' rights and safety. I think we all need to keep in mind that decisions in this school division are made per the United States. Is not supposed to be biased towards one religion or another. And I hope that the school board, considers that there's a wide variety of morals in this country, sort of, whether it's Bible verses or whatever else, but the school board needs to be making their decisions to respect student safety first and foremost. And I think JBP, as it is written, strikes a very important balance. It is a difficult balance, it is a nuanced balance, but I think it is the best it can be. So, on to the bad news. I was looking over the collective bargaining resolution, and I'm assuming I saw the most recent version. And you guys are looking at starting a study committee to discuss the idea of collective bargaining for about a year, until October 1st, 2027, potentially. Respectfully, what have you been doing? Respectfully. For the past 5 years, Virginia has had collective bargaining legalized as a possible route for localities. And I mean, I wasn't here 5 years ago, but it is my understanding that NNEA has been strongly advocating for this. They've explained it to you. They've, advocated for it. They've started even collecting authorization cards from teachers who would be interested in that. And in 2024, the city council decided to kind of get the ball rolling on their task force to discuss the possibility of collective bargaining for their city workers. They spent a year discussing, and then they waited another year, and then they finally passed it. It took a while, but they at least got the ball rolling, right? I feel like you guys should have gotten this ball rolling with a year-long study committee in 2024, maybe taken a cue from city council. Right now, it feels like you guys kind of wasted a lot of time. And you cannot afford to waste any more time. There is a teacher shortage in Virginia. Teachers are burning out every year because you keep demanding more data, more meetings, more spreadsheets, more Google Forms, more professional development, more trainings, more special events for the students, more after-school tutoring. The list goes on, and you do not take anything off of our plates. You have no idea what this feels like to be this burned out in 2026 post-COVID, dealing with insane student behaviors and insane demands from some parents who just feel entitled to whatever from teachers. So respectfully, please re-examine that proposal. I don't know if we can wait multiple more years for this whole collective bargaining process to even start. We need change now.
Thank you. Thank you for your comments and thoughts this evening. We will now move on to Section 3, the consent agenda. Board members, you have received the consent agenda items in your packet. At this time, may I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the consent agenda as presented. Any questions, comments? Hearing none, Ms. Buffalo? Please call.
Alger.
4.
Amon. 4. Brown.
4.
Harris.
4.
Hunter.
4.
Searles Law.
4.
Best.
4.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. We will move to Section 4, action items. 401, personnel actions. Dr. Mitchell.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. I am pleased this evening to recommend the following 3 individuals for appointment at your approval this evening. Dr. Cecil Avery for Director of K-12 Programs. Dr. Avery holds a Doctorate of Educational Leadership and Policy Studies from Virginia Tech. He currently serves as a principal in Norfolk Public Schools. His leadership experience and educational background position him well to provide division-level leadership and support our K-12 programs. Dr. Mary Hardesty for Director of High School Leadership. Dr. Hardesty earned a Doctorate of Educational Leadership from Old Dominion University and currently serves as principal of Woodside High School. Her experience leading at the high school level provides a strong foundation for supporting principals and advancing student outcomes across our high schools. Dr. Lorena Kelly for Executive Director of Secondary Teaching and Learning. Dr. Kelly earned a doctorate of educational leadership from Old Dominion University. She currently serves as an executive director of teaching and learning with Virginia Beach Public Schools. Her division level instructional leadership, experience, and expertise will support our continued focus on high-quality teaching, learning, and academic achievement at the secondary level. Madam Chair, this concludes my recommendation.
Thank you, Dr. Mitchell. Any questions? Okay. Do I get a motion to approve the personnel recommendation?
I move to approve the superintendent's personnel recommendations.
Second.
It's been moved and second that we approve the personnel recommendations. Again, any questions, comments? Okay, Ms. Buffalo, please call the roll.
Alger.
4.
Amon.
4.
Brown.
4.
Harris.
4.
Hunter.
4.
Searles Law.
4.
Best.
4.
Motion passes 7-0. Congratulations.
We will move to section 5, reports and information, 5.01, summer programming and back-to-school presentation. Dr. Mitchell.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This evening, Dr. Rogers, our Chief Academic Officer, will provide you with an update on summer school programming and a little bit on our back-to-school update. Dr. Rogers?
Thank you, Dr. Mitchell. Good evening, Madam Chair, Dr. Best, Vice Chair, Mrs. Alger, school board members, and again, Dr. Mitchell. Before we turn our attention fully to the opening of school, which we're all excited about, I do want to give the board a brief look at our summer programming, who we reached, how students engaged, and most importantly, what they accomplished. Our summer work was designed to do more than just provide traditional summer school. Again, we wanted to extend the learning, provide opportunities for acceleration, recovery, as well as keep students and families connected with learning throughout the summer. Impressively, this summer we made more than 5,000 summer learning connections through our in-person learning programs, as well as our online learning resources. And I use the word connections this year instead of individual students intentionally because it does not represent that 5,000 unduplicated students participated. It represents the number of students who could participate in person in one of our programs and also in one of our online learning resources. But it does give you a general sense of the breadth of learning opportunities that we provided throughout our school division this summer. So here are our actual numbers. When we look specifically at our former summer programs, 4,459 students participated. More than 3,600 participated in our Elevate Summer School, but our programming extended well beyond summer school. Nearly 600 students participated in our STEAM camps, and we will hear from one of our teachers and students who participated momentarily. And students also had opportunities through the Summer Institute for the Arts, extended year and pre-enrollment transition services, our CTE, including our Newport News Public Schools Career Pathways Technology Department summer internship, and you'll hear more about that momentarily, and Streaming for Success. So summer learning in Newport News Public Schools really represents a continuum of opportunities, intervention, acceleration, enrichment, arts exploration, as well as specialized services. We also saw some significant changes in participation compared to where we were last summer. At the elementary level, we served 114 more students this summer. At middle school, we served 318 more students this summer, which is our largest increase. And at the high school level, enrollment was lower this year by 142 students. Particularly at the elementary and middle school levels, we expanded the number of students accessing summer learning. And what we find especially encouraging with these numbers is what happened to attendance as we served more students this summer. Before I talk about attendance, I do want to share where we were with our summer learning portal. As we did last year, our reach did extend beyond students who physically attended summer learning programming. We made grade level summer learning resources available again to all elementary families through our summer learning portal, which you see the little icon just below in the middle of the slide deck. which we had 940 users this year. At the secondary level, our students had access to IXL Summer Boost courses where students have the opportunity to take lessons and activities for the course that they will be taking in the fall, and that allowed them to continue building and strengthening their skills throughout the summer. So we were intentional about creating learning opportunities beyond our regular programming and in our buildings. Now, I do want to talk about the attendance. This summer, our results are particularly impressive considering the more students that we had participating this year. At the elementary level, our average daily attendance increased from 76.4% to 78.7%, which represents a 2.3 increase, again, while we're serving more than 114 more students this year than we did last year. At the middle school level, attendance increased from 80.2% to 84% average daily attendance, and that's nearly 4 percentage points, all the while we served more than 300 students more this year than we did last year. And at high school, our attendance remained exceptionally strong at 97%, relatively unchanged from the previous year. So the important story that I have today is simply that we served more students, and at the elementary and middle school, we served more students and they attended more consistently. And that's an important indicator of student engagement with the opportunities that they were provided with this summer. Another important part of our summer work is our partnerships with the outside entities. And we had 35 community partners, and they expand the scope from across higher ed, STEM learning, arts and performance, and community and cultural organizations. And we do want to thank those partners for helping us shape the experiences for our summer learning this past summer. As we did last year, we kept in communication with our families, especially at the elementary level, and we wanted to keep them connected to not only what they were doing, but with what they were learning. And we did so through our Camp Elevate Corner. Our families received weekly updates on what their students were doing, highlighting the learning that was taking place and ways in which they could remain engaged at home. And that was extremely effective again this year. That was intentional. Family communication wasn't simply about buses and schedules and reminders of things that were taking place. We wanted families to genuinely be connected to the learning. So how did our summer learning opportunities do with our secondary students? Of course, participation and attendance both matter, but ultimately we want to know whether students were successful or not. And at the secondary level, the answer is overwhelmingly yes. Our credit recovery pass rate increased from 97% to 98%, with 901 students enrolled, and our advancement pass rate remained at an exceptional 99% with 448 students enrolled. So nearly every student who completed a secondary summer course earned the credit. So for a student in credit recovery, that can mean getting back on track toward graduation. For a student taking an advancement course, it can create a space in their schedule for additional advanced coursework, electives, or other opportunities to take place during the school year. And that's why those numbers actually matter. And perhaps no better slide in this presentation would be this one that captures the purpose of our work than this one. We had 51 students, again, who graduated this summer. And for these young people, summer programming wasn't simply another class or another program. It provided them with a pathway for an important milestone. And behind all the numbers that we shared tonight are individual students. And these 51 students are a wonderful reminder of why we create multiple pathways in Newport News Public Schools for students to be able to succeed. Congratulations to the graduates and the class of 2026. They have contributed to our graduation rate, which is, Dr. Bowman, I asked you to help me with this if you're here. She's out helping the parent. You can help us with Dr. Mitchell? Yeah.
I think I can.
Absolutely. What is it? What is the graduation rate on time, preliminarily?
You already know. Go ahead, Ms. Moore Buffalo.
97%.
Huh?
Point
You drop off my 0.9. Give me back my 0.9.
97.9%. Y'all, that is incredible.
97.99%. Absolutely. We're extremely proud of that on-time graduation rate. And now our attention does turn from summer learning to the work that's ahead. And as we prepare for the new school year, the major focus will be on the implementation of our teaching and learning framework. And we shared a little bit about that at your workshop. The framework does give us a shared vision and common language for high-quality teaching and learning all across Newport News in terms of how we plan, teach, assess, and reflect on our practice. It's not just another initiative. It's the framework that brings coherence to our instructional work that we've been building and helps us to become increasingly consistent or wildly consistent in what strong Tier 1 instruction looks like, feels like, and sounds like in all of our classrooms. So we're excited about the year ahead, and before I transition into how we're prepared for the year momentarily, I'd like to bring up Ms. Tammy Byron, who is our supervisor of STEM, and she has a teacher as well as a student that will give you just a snapshot in terms of what they learned this summer and did.
Thank you, Dr. Rogers. Good evening, Madam Chair, Dr. Best, Vice Chair, Ms. Alger, Dr. Mitchell, and members of the board. Over 12 action-packed days, students participated in 14 camps where they sailed, programmed robots, piloted drones, designed future cities, explored art, music, and drama. The program culminated in a STEAM Camp Expo where more than 600 visitors celebrated student learning at the STEAM Camp at Hines. To bring these experiences to life for you, we're going to hear from STEAM Camp teacher, Ms. LaJean McKinney, and STEAM Camp student, Amari Holden. Ms. McKinney?
Good evening. My name is LaJean McKinney, and I am a CTE teacher and the Special Programs Lead for the University and Governor's STEM Magnets at Heritage High School. This summer, I had the opportunity to teach STEAM Camp for the first time as an instructor for Quirky Creations, and this was a camp for rising 3rd and 4th grade students. As a high school teacher, I was interested in seeing how the STEM concepts are introduced at an elementary level. This experience allowed me to see students' excitement for STEM at an early age and learn more about the STEM opportunities that are available to students throughout Newport News. Through Quirky Creations, students use LEGO Education Spike Kits and other hands-on projects to practice engineering design processes, and working in groups, they brainstormed, designed, created, tested, and improved their ideas while developing communication, problem solving, and teamwork skills. The highlight, and my favorite highlight of the STEAM Camp experience, was watching students use their own creativity to develop different solutions to solve those challenges. I plan to apply to teach the STEAM Camp again next year, and I look forward to meeting a new group of learners and introducing them to the engineering design process. So, thank you.
Good evening. My name is Mari Holden, and I'm an 8th grade student at Washington Middle School. This summer, I had a chance to once again be at STEAM Camp at Hines Middle School, and I'm just going to say that it was very fun and very exciting being able to do something that I dreamed of doing, not even knowing how it happened. I just have to say that it was something that I always wanted to do, and I'm just happy that I got to do it. One of the many things that we did was launch rockets. We built them, we tested them. They worked really well. They launched, functioned, and overall they worked. We learned about how the shape of the fins affected how it flew up into the sky. We learned about how the forces of gravity worked against and with the rockets. And I'm just gonna say that overall STEAM Camp showed and demonstrated very well that STEM could be fun.
So we'll now turn it over to Mr. Santos, who is going to share a little bit about our technology integration with this Career Pathways internship.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Vice Chair, Dr. Mitchell, school board members. It is my pleasure this evening to introduce Chloe Kroom. She was one of 9 exceptional student interns we had this year. And when I say exceptional, just extremely passionate about not only the work they did, what they learned, and how they approached these 5 weeks that we had them. So I will tell you, and I'll let her share her own story about her experiences, what she learned, and kind of what she took away from this. But I will tell you that she will be a future rock star in computer science and technology one day, just to kind of set the precedence for her as she gets up to step up and to kind of talk to her about her experience. But it is with great pleasure that I introduce Chloe Kroom this evening.
Good evening, Dr. Mitchell and members of the board. My name is Chloe Kroom, and I'm an upcoming junior at Warwick High School, and tonight I'm incredibly proud to present our collective journey through the 2026 Newport News Public Schools Career Pathway Summer Internship with the Department of Technology. Our overarching theme this summer was empowering tomorrow's future innovators. And this wasn't just a slogan to us, it was a mission to build robust technical skills, explore exciting professional horizons, and bridge the gap between our classroom learning and real-world career application. Over the next 2 minutes, I want to show you how this investment in our future has prepared us to step forward and lead by showing us the difference between what to think versus how to think. From our very first day, we were welcomed into an exceptionally supportive work environment. And as you can see on the screen, we are wearing our purple program t-shirts that proudly display our unifying mantra: passionate, innovative, and collaborative. To us, passionate meant approaching every technical ticket and configuration with curiosity, dedication, and energy. Innovative pushed us to think creatively when we faced unfamiliar software environments and system errors. And finally, collaboration. Collaboration was the true heart of our organization. We operated as a unified team, troubleshooting together and learning directly from our talented IT professionals and mentors who guided us daily. This collaborative environment showed us what a positive, high-performing corporate culture feels like. Those 3 key foundations helped us build cultivating professional mindsets. And as you may notice, innovative is up here twice, but that is because innovation truly ties into the passionate and collaborative way of things. I watched every day as members of our internship used our passions to create and build incredibly impressive projects. We used our interest in the things that we love to build and create new ideas. We also used collaboration to help share suggestions and brainstorm throughout the process of building our projects. For my project, I designed an AI deception cybersecurity engine designed for active cybersecurity defense. As I mentioned before, this internship really helped us bridge the gap from our classroom to real-world career application in 4 key ways: software and hardware, service desk support, an AI building and AI partner, and our design thinking capstone. With software and hardware, we were able to get hands-on experience with computers by being able to take them apart and figuring out what each part of the computer did. With our service desk support, we got real customer service experience, being able to answer phones and in live action troubleshooting. And we were also the first students to be a part of our new school year AI rollout, where we were able to work with AI partners called GEMS, collaborating, and we truly used them as thought partners. This showed me the many ways that AI can be beneficial in the classrooms. And finally, my favorite part of our summer was our design thinking capstone. We were challenged to create an idea that solved a real-world problem. We were challenged to create an idea that solved a real-world problem, requiring us to think critically and about real-world issues and really just work together to figure out how we can make our ideas better. On our final slide, you can see real photos of our student cohort in action, including our trips to VMask and Jefferson Lab, where we got to work with pretty cool robotics and take in a lot of incredible information. Because of your vision and continued support, I was able to not only just get a stronger resume, but be able to have confidence and professional skills to succeed in the modern workforce. First, I want to start by thanking Mr. Santos and his amazing team for working with me this summer, because I know I was a headache, but I want to thank him for that, and I want to thank all of you for the opportunity to speak here tonight. I'm really looking forward to being a part of this internship next year, and that is pretty much a recap of my summer internship. Good job.
All about Dr. Rogers. Thank you. Appreciate it.
So we thank the students and the staff for working with the teachers, and that just gives you a glimpse at the wonderful opportunities that our students have had this summer. So now I'll transition just quickly to back to school. It is time. Momentarily, we will be welcoming students, but in the meantime, we wanted to take just a minute to remind our families that we have back to school orientations and open houses coming up starting actually tomorrow, Wednesday. We will host orientation for our 6th grade students, and the time is listed on the slide in front of you. And open house will also happen tomorrow as well for our middle school students. On Thursday, elementary school open houses will take place from 4 to 7 p.m. And then on Friday, 9th grade orientation and orientation for students who are new to schools, high schools, will take place from 8 to 11 on Friday. And drum roll, Monday, August 24 is the first day of school, and we will welcome all of our scholars back from a fantastic summer for the first day. And at this time, we will be happy to take any questions that you might have. I think the students are still here if you have questions for the team as well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Board members? Okay. Amy?
As a parent, question if you know generally when class schedules might be available for middle or high schoolers.
So I know Dr. Blow is not here, but I know it's posted on the website. So if families want to visit the website, it should pop right up. Is that correct, Dr. Mitchell? Thursday. Yes, ma'am.
Anyone else? Thank you.
Thank you
for your wonderful, informative presentation. I love the student presenters. Love to hear their point of view, and thank you to our teachers, all of our staff members, and to everyone that had a hand in planning our summer program. Thank you so very much. So we will now move on to 5.02, collective bargaining resolution. Board members, you received a copy of the resolution. Dr. Mitchell.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. School board members have requested consideration of a resolution which would establish a collective bargaining study group. As you know, the General Assembly has adopted legislation permitting local approval of collective bargaining, and some of our employees from the school division have expressed interest in collective bargaining. The purpose of the resolution is to establish a study group to provide a focused study of collective bargaining, as collective bargaining affects issues uniquely related to Virginia school divisions. The resolution will be placed as an action item for the September school board meeting. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Dr. Mitchell. Questions? We will move on to 5.03, construction report. Board members, you've received a copy of the report. Are there any questions? All right. Hearing none, we'll move on to 5.04, comments by the superintendent.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. I want to extend what Dr. Rogers has already shared. A big congratulations to our summer graduates. As he stated, we celebrated summer graduation for 51 students on August the 4th at Heritage High School. Our students worked hard, and we are extremely proud of them. All summer, we have been preparing for the opening of school, which is coming very quickly. Monday, August 24th, our new educator orientation was held at Heritage High School, and we welcomed 208 enthusiastic new educators to the school division. They've gone through a week of orientation and activities to prepare them for joining our schools. And I believe we have one in the audience. Moving right along, this summer, as you heard from Dr. Rogers, we had 47 interns that participated in our Career Pathwise Summer Internship Program. We are very proud of their commitment to their future. You had the opportunity to hear from our students, and I think you would agree with me, they did a phenomenal job. All veteran staff reported to their schools, and work sites on August the 13th for the arrival of students when schools open on August the 24th. I would like to remind families that clear backpacks are supplied this year by families. They will be required again for this school year, along with wearing student IDs when on school property. So please check your child's backpack, check their things. If they were students with us last year, they should continue to have their badge. I'm looking at a principal in the audience. If they are new, they will be supplied with one, but not to worry if your child has misplaced them. We have a plan in place. Send them to school for sure. Please make sure that you check your child's immunizations to make sure that they have the ones that are required for their particular grade level. And we really will appreciate your help with this. You can see all the details, including school supply list, on the Back to School page, which is on our school division website. Newport News Public Schools has partnered with WXY Urban Architects to conduct a division-wide efficiency study. The division's priorities for this study are equitable access to high-quality educational opportunities and services for all students, community schools anchored by clear feeder patterns, improve operational efficiencies, including reducing bus run times and maximizing our building utilization, enhance our safety and security, including the elimination of modular learning environments whenever possible. So please visit our website for additional information and updates throughout the process. It's important to share that we are currently planning our first set of community meetings for the end of September. There will be one meeting scheduled for each of the 3 districts. Each meeting will provide an opportunity for virtual participation as well as in-person participation. There will be opportunities for community members to provide feedback electronically also throughout this process. So we want to thank you in advance for your interest and your engagement. I want to wish everyone a productive and positive school year of learning. I hope that you know that each of you is a valued part, parents, students, and employees. So this year we plan to continue to work together to help our students succeed in the classroom. And as you can see on the slide, when the first day is, I know I've mentioned it multiple times, but I want to make sure everyone shows up for school on time. But just as a reminder, Friday, September the 4th, schools are closed. Students do not report on that day. There is a law that says if you begin school before Labor Day, the Friday before Labor Day, students and teachers are not to report. And then Monday, September the 7th, schools and offices are closed. And Madam Chair, that concludes my remarks this evening.
Thank you, Dr. Mitchell. We'll now move on to item 6, another opportunity to hear from the public. And we do have some additional cards. Our first speaker is Mr. David Brakeman, and he will be followed by Ms. Faith Rodriguez.
Good evening, Dr. Mitchell, members of the board. I'm David Brackman, he, him, here in support first of the Educators Union's demands for collective bargaining, and second, in support of students' continued rights to privacy, safety, and respect. Teachers and staff deserve a say, as a group, in the negotiation of their working conditions, including union representation in the study group on union representation should not be optional. By September's meeting, I hope that item 3 will be amended to change may include to shall include representatives of employee associations. Please also amend item 6 so that the goal of the study group will not be to just produce an investigative report. Instead, please specify that the output of the study group shall be a resolution that specifies the sub-items under item 6. Relatedly, thank you for committing to the continued safety and dignity of every student. When you speak to anyone, you respect them with what they sincerely said is their name. If someone does not feel safe to say so at home, as the statistics unfortunately support, you do not put them in a dangerous situation with forced outing. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Faith Rodriguez, and you will be followed by Josh Hetzler.
Good evening, members of the board. Thank you for allowing me to speak to you tonight. Newport News has in fact heard this debate before a few years ago, and I'm asking you to hear from someone who has actually lived within the consequences of a similar policy to policy JB-P. I grew up in a California school district where transgender girls or biological males were allowed to use girls' restrooms and locker rooms. I remember how uncomfortable that made me and many other girls, so much so that some of us became so uncomfortable we avoided using restrooms during school hours. I do not want Newport News girls here to have that same experience as me in California. But I'm also here because I believe that parents have a fundamental role in their children's lives. A school should support a child, but it should not replace the parent. If a parent has specifically said they do not want their minor child socially transitioned at school, I do not believe that school employees should be able to simply go around that parent, using a different name or pronouns and helping a child's transition without the family's knowledge. Parents are responsible for raising their children and making decisions for them, and knowing what is happening in their lives. Schools should work with parents, not behind their backs. And protecting one group of students should never require another group to surrender their privacy. Who's protecting biological females? You can support every student without taking away a girl's privacy. You can support a child without shutting their parents out. Please choose a policy that does in fact respect both. Thank you.
Thank you. Josh Hessler, and he will be followed by Veronica Williams.
Good evening. My name is Josh Hetzler, and I serve as Executive Director and Chief Counsel for the Founding Freedoms Law Center. I want to speak to you tonight about your recent changes to policy JB-P entitled Procedures, Treatment of Transgender and Gender Nonconforming Students. 2 months ago today, we sent you a legal memo explaining the ways your new policy is out of step with the law when it comes to parental rights, religious freedom, free speech, and privacy. In that letter, I explained the numerous ways in which your current policy is in violation of both state and federal law, and we warned that a failure to address those issues could likely result in harmful consequences for your students, staff, and parents, as well as open up this school division to lawsuits, investigations, and the potential loss of federal funding under Title IX. I also informed the board at that time that the U.S. Supreme Court was likely to make a landmark ruling on those very issues within days of that letter. Well, in fact, the Supreme Court did issue a landmark ruling, and that is why last week, in partnership with America First Legal, we sent you a new legal memo about the significant impact of West Virginia versus BPJ and its consequences for Virginia school boards. In ruling against the transgender activists on the issue of boys playing in girls' sports, the Supreme Court made decisively clear that Title IX cannot be interpreted to include protections based on gender identity, but that it can only be read as providing protections based on biological sex. Our memo discusses why the case makes the Fourth Circuit's Grimm versus Gloucester County School Board decision from 2020 no longer good law, because the Supreme Court repudiated the very bases upon which Grimm was decided. I highly encourage you to read our full memo if you have not done so yet. What is clear is that whatever thin veneer of legal justification this school division may have once had to justify its current transgender policies, that is now totally gone in light of the Supreme Court's recent decisions. We implore you, therefore, before school officially starts back up, to immediately revert to your previous policy while you consider how you might more fully be compliant with the law and to protect the privacy, safety, and fundamental rights of your constituents. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Veronica Williams will be followed by Ms. Carol Bauer.
Good evening, Dr. Mitchell, Madam Chair, and ladies and gentlemen of the school board. My name is Veronica Williams. I am a product of the Newport News School Board system. I graduated from the Newport News public school system, and I have a family member who is currently matriculating through Newport News. I'm here to express concerns about policy JB-P currently and ask you to please reverse course. The current board's new policy means that school staff can help socially transition a child at school while keeping the child's parents in the dark. It means that school staff can use a new name and pronouns for a child without telling the child's parents. It means that girls will lose privacy in their own locker rooms and restrooms because boys are allowed access. I want to give you an example of a Virginia school board that had these same provisions. And that Virginia school board was sued on August the 7th, 2025, because of devastating harms that resulted to a Virginia student. I'll read you a summary of the facts. A 14-year-old female student who had a history of trauma began high school in Appomattox County, Virginia in August 2021. The student identified as male at school and was advised by a counselor that she could use the boys' restroom. Following this, the student was subjected to harassment, threats, and sexual assault by male students. School staff, including counselors, were aware of the harassment and the school's mental health vulnerabilities, but did not inform the student's mother about the gender identity issues, the bullying, or the school's responses. Instead, staff continued to affirm the student's desire to identify as a male without parental notification. After a series of escalating incidents, the student suffered a breakdown, ran away, and was victimized by sex traffickers. One of the escalating incidents was that a counselor gave the student websites that were designed to facilitate communicating with other students who were identified as trans. Unfortunately, she communicated with someone who was posing as a student and was a sex trafficker. That individual removed her from the state, and she was trafficked. She was out of her mother's home, out of state, for 334 days before the FBI, in conjunction with the Founding Freedoms Law Center, was able to rescue her and get her back safely into her mother's home. So I ask you to please reverse course. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Carol Bauer. Ms. Carol Bauer, and she will be followed by Ms. Mary Boss.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the school board, Dr. Mitchell, and committee members. My name is Carol Bauer. I'm a fourth grade teacher with over 30 years in the classroom, and I'm proud to currently serve as a president of the Virginia Education Association. I'm here tonight to talk about collective bargaining. Collective bargaining is about something very simple. It's about giving people who do the work a meaningful voice in the decisions that affect their work. Everyday Newport News educators and school employees show up for their students. They teach, they transport, feed, counsel, protect, support, and inspire them. They know what their work is and what their schools need, what happens on their buses, and what happens in their communities. They know where change is needed. Their experience should not just be heard, it should have a meaningful place at the table. Collective bargaining creates that table. I've had a front row seat to collectively bargain agreements in school divisions across Virginia. 11 school divisions, 22 collective bargaining agreements. I've seen educators in school divisions use collective bargaining to move from simply identifying problems to solving them together. The process creates a structured process for employees and employers to address working conditions, staffing, safety, compensation, and other issues that determine whether great educators choose to stay in our public schools. And that matters here in Newport News. When educators have a stronger voice, our schools are stronger. When employees feel respected, valued, and heard, you are better able to recruit and retain professionals for your classrooms. Collectively bargain is also about democracy in the workplace. We teach our students that democracy means having a voice, participating in decisions, and working together for the common good. Our public schools should model those same values. You have an opportunity to send a very powerful message to every Newport News school employee. We see you, we value your expertise, we respect your voice, and we are willing to work with you. Strengthen your proposal and your resolution that at the end of the study group, you shall have an agreed upon resolution to actually engage in collective bargaining. The Virginia Education Association stands proudly with the Newport News Education Association and the public school employees who are organizing for a stronger voice in their workplace. I ask you to choose partnership, choose employee voice, and choose stronger schools. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Mary Boss.
Good evening, Superintendent Dr. Mitchell, Board Chair Dr. Best, Vice Chair Mrs. Alger, and members of the board. I am here tonight to speak in support of the collective bargaining study group that will be on September's meeting agenda for a vote, and to thank for the board for protecting vulnerable LGBTQ+ students. First, collective bargaining, also known as contract negotiations, is the process by which employees, through representatives they choose, negotiate with their employer over wages, benefits, schedules, working conditions, and other terms of employment. Teacher and staff working conditions or student learning conditions, so giving school workers a seat at the table benefits students and the community by making schools safer and more effective. Last month, Newport News City Council unanimously approved a collective bargaining ordinance for city workers such as firefighters, police officers, and public works employees, with bargaining opportunities beginning July 1st, 2028. School employees, teachers, school staff, cafeteria workers, custodians, administrators, all of us deserve the same opportunity to have a meaningful voice in our working conditions. As VEA President Carol Bauer just noted, the VEA recommends a couple of improvements to the current draft resolution for the study group. First, the study group should be charged with developing a proposed collective bargaining resolution for the board to consider, not simply producing a report. Newport News City Council's task force culminated with a proposed collective bargaining ordinance and vote, and so we deserve the same. Second, NNEA representatives should be required participants rather than merely being people that the study group may include, so changing may to shall. The city's task force, collective bargaining task force, included public sector union representatives, including our NNEA president, Dr. James Graves. School employees should also have a seat at the table when the future of our labor rights is being considered. In addition, the collective bargaining study group currently extends into October 2027. I encourage the board to conduct this work as efficiently as possible. City employees will be able to begin bargaining in July 2028. Teachers and school workers should not have to wait longer than firefighters and police officers for the same basic labor rights. Moving on to policy JBP. I want to thank the board again for updating JBP recently in order to better protect vulnerable LGBTQ+ students. These protections matter. CDC research shows that LGBTQ+ students experience substantially higher levels of poor mental health because of the way they are treated, not for an inherent reason. Inclusive school policies are associated with less emotional distress, less harassment, and fewer suicidal thoughts and behaviors. In 2023, 65% of LGBTQ high school students reported persistent sadness or hopelessness, 41% considered suicide. Every child deserves dignity, respect, and love, and that includes our LGBTQ+ students. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Voss. Okay, we have no additional cards, and at this time, we will have our closing remarks, and we will begin with our student representative for the first time, Mr. Cameron. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think the main thing I've brought away from this meeting is that there's a lot of excitement around the new year, and seeing everybody here with all their passion for what they're here, what they want to talk about, has really made me excited. And the thing I'm most excited about is seeing the two students that spoke to us and all the awesome opportunities that students have within our division. And it reminds us that we need to make sure that these opportunities continue, and not only that they continue to get better. So yeah, just really making sure that our students continue to have these opportunities and that we remain passionate about giving our students these opportunities. Thank you.
Thank you, Cameron. Okay, very good. All right, and we'll just come on down. Mr. Hunter?
Thank you. I'm going to be very quick. Great things are happening in Newport News Public Schools. You saw the results. And again, I want to thank the teachers and the co-workers and the librarians and the bus drivers and custodians and professional school counselors, all those individuals that made that work possible for us this past year. I really want to thank you. And then our leader, our superintendent, again, with your leadership, again, we've continued to improve and to great things are happening in Newport News Public Schools. I look forward to seeing as many students as I can the first day of school on Monday. So enjoy those last few days. Enjoy, and we're ready to go on Monday morning.
Thank you. Ms. Amos?
Sure. I'll focus on back to school. I know know we've got a lot to tackle in this new year. Sorry, it was off. I'll focus mostly on back to school. So we've got a middle school mom. We've got middle school open houses tomorrow. I'm really hoping there's some schedules that might be printed out. I'm a nerd that likes to use what the teachers want for the particular classes for our back to school shopping. And for those listening who might have students at Gildersleeve, if you come, a point of personal privilege, if you come to open house and join the PTA, we're going to be naming our Seahawk mascot. So that's sort of a new thing we'll be doing, give him or her a name in the next month or so. So hopefully I'll get to see some people out there tomorrow night, and of course many at different schools as we go back to school early next week. I'm sure there'll be a couple days of visiting schools, so we'll try to get to as many as I can.
Thank you, Ms. Harris.
All right, great meeting tonight. I always appreciate when everyone comes down and shares their thoughts. I wanted to start off by thanking the staff, specifically I call him Mr. Pete, over at Denby Community Center for their culmination of Friday Night Nets. They serviced a ton of kids for the last several consecutive Fridays with basketball, haircuts, activities, arts. Just a bunch of different activities, and I look forward to that each and every year. Also wanted to shout out Safe Haven Empowerment Center for their back to school drive. I was able to work their registration table and hand out clear book bags and hot dogs and hamburgers and all the things. And there were a lot of very happy kiddos that left out. Then wanted to shout out CNU, Christopher, our partnership with Christopher Newport University, Tri-City Hurricanes, which is a recreational program here in the area, had their annual pep rally there, and we had a couple hundred students to go through, and for some of them it was their first time on campus, for some of them it was their first time in the Ferguson Center, and to see the gym light up, we had the DJ and all the sounds. It was just a really great time for exposure and exploration being on that campus. So thank you and shout out to the CNU staff. Also wanted to shout out Watkins, who also had a back to school event that was hosted by John Ely. I was able to pass through there as lots of back to school events this past weekend. There was a lot going on in the city, so shout out across the division. First Baptist Church Denby also. I want to thank the young lady who jumped the line for me and got me 2 pieces of hot fish. That was really cool. So thank you for that. And I would be remiss. I have 2 teenagers now also who are Newport News Public School students. And I remember a time last year when my daughter actually she told the godmother something that she was processing in her growing up. And I remember feeling extremely hurt. I was less focused on what she was processing with her, and I was more focused on why she didn't feel comfortable coming to me first. And I just wanted to leave that with some of the folks in the room as we sort of unpack both sides of things. And there's always 2 sides. There's always 2 sides to a thing. But we always have to keep the main thing the main thing. That's all I have.
Thank you. Ms. Searles-Law?
Yes, so the summer is always an exciting time for me because I have just believed that students can, as my grandmother would say, make hay while the sun shines. And so these students don't have to choose to go to summer school or do internships. And so I just really want to give them and the families a shout out. I got the joy to see the tech students come to Jefferson Lab. They joined with another program that I'm in charge of, one for big data. So we had the tech students and the big data students all in one room, and they were just sharing about what they've been doing during the summer and what their next steps were going to be. And so, Cameron, thank you for keeping us focused on what is important, which is really these opportunities for our students to have the opportunity to grow and to excel and to enjoy their education in a way that goes beyond the classroom. So I'm excited for the school year. I can't wait to get the list of all the schools we're going to visit and the order in which we do it in the first week. Dr. Mitchell, you are not to go to every school on the first day.
Dr. Rogers, did you hear that?
But thank you all for your dedication to our students. It is unmatched. And I just hope that if you missed the work session, there's some good things getting ready to come out.
Thank you. Mr. Brown.
Yeah, so, really big things are happening in Newport News Public Schools. Right, because as we talked about tonight, 98%. I'm gonna take that .0001 and go to 98%. 98% on-time graduation rate. That is unprecedented, unheard of. That is phenomenal and outstanding when you consider the challenges of getting students to graduate in the state of Virginia, the verified units that must occur, the work that goes into ensuring that a child goes from K through 12 on time, and we are able to do that 98% of the time. And our dropout rate is less than 1%. We talked about tonight that it's so small. To put that in perspective, we said it's what? But .002 represents 5 students.
Out of 1,706.
Yeah, out of 1,716. So that's work to really be proud of, and I talked about tonight in our work session that I'm not going to stop saying it because it needs to be said a million times for the public to really understand and start to process how phenomenal that is and how much work and time that is taken. Mr. Hunter, like we said, with the bookends here, we've been here for a long time. We remember what the dropout rate was when we got here. It was much higher. It was much higher, and the on-time graduation rate was higher than the state average, but it was much lower. We were in the high 80s back when we first started. So a lot of work has moved to move us to this point. Just a really busy summer, and I'll try to cap off. There's some highlights from this summer that I want to highlight for the public. We had the chance to go to the Virginia School Board Association's Education Conference, which was held in Virginia Beach this year, and our school division was featured at the Education Conference. We were one of the featured speakers for our Denby Aviation Academy, which is a national treasure. There is only to my knowledge, there's only about 4 aviation academies in the country, and we have one of them here in Newport News. And so our Aviation Academy students were featured at that education conference. We are going to press Dr. Mitchell on this. I want 5 pilots. So we're pushing.
We have some, and we will get you 5.
We're pushing, right. We're pushing. We're going to get up to 5 students to get their commercial aviation license before they graduate from high school through the Aviation Academy. We're working on that, and that's a goal ambitious goal that I've laid out, and I believe that we are going to meet that.
We will.
As well, the Aviation Academy has been around for generations, produces a lot of the aircraft mechanics in this area, produces folks who can work at Busch Gardens on the roller coasters. That's what a lot of folks don't know, that we produce a lot of the CTE mechanics that are coming out of our Aviation Academy. So we have work that's to be very proud of, and that work was featured. And then this past weekend was exciting. I didn't get to go to First Baptist Denby because Stanford University, my alumni association, we had our frosh send-off for our freshmen in the area. Now, it just so happened the freshmen going to Stanford from the area this time was from the South Side. But Mr. Smith, you can change that around for next year.
We had one last.
I can be congratulating you to go to Stanford from the Peninsula side. Our last Peninsula student was from Woodside High School, and then before that was Warwick High School. So, Mr. Smith, I'll just throw that down for you. That we can talk about Stanford. So with that, we've got a very busy year. I know I want the public to understand we've had this year-long study for our transportation And so I know we called it, building utilization and zone utilization, all that. Don't let those words fool you. It's our transportation study, in terms of understanding. We're talking about our bus stops and where our buses are going. The public, you all have said you would like more information and more time to understand what's going on. We've laid out an entire year, right, to lay out, and we're going to go through each major district in the city, north, central, and south, to have community meetings so that you can hear what the facility utilization folks are learning in the study and to get feedback from you. So please don't let that opportunity pass you by. That's the work of this year, because I believe at the end of this year, we're going to have to finally come to our decision on what we're going to do about transportation, because we do have a bus driver shortage and we have to deal with that, and that's where this study is headed. So that's the work that is immediately ahead of us this year. And with that, I will turn it back over.
And Mr. Brown, the one thing I want to add in terms of the Virginia School Board Association Conference is our jazz band from Heritage High School.
They performed
for us. They performed for everyone during the luncheon. So didn't want to miss giving them their opportunity.
The world famous Heritage High School band.
Yes,
they've traveled around the world, yes, to perform.
Thank you, Ms. Alger.
Yes, this summer was pretty busy. So I want to start off with welcoming new teachers. I had the honor to attend the new teacher welcome back or welcome celebration. It was wonderful to see the many new faces and even folks from the other side of the water. A teacher that used to work with me chose to work here in Newport News as a special ed teacher, and it was really absolutely wonderful. And what I loved best was the teacher of the year, John Levitt, right? And if you haven't met him, you need to meet him and even listen to his speech. And one of the things that he said that is worth repeating over and over again, and you know this, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And that relationship piece part is so critical to the way we start the school year, to the way we work together, to the way we make decisions, and everything that we do, especially when we put children in the center. That's really what's most important. I want to thank President Kelly. Today I attended his address, and I love it when people can speak to the work that Newport News Public Schools does in partnership. So thank you to President Kelly, and thank you for the work you've done with the university in order to make sure that partnership continues. And the last thing I want to say is, Cameron, thank you for joining us, and congratulations. I'm so excited to have you here, and I look forward to working with you. Thank you.
Thank you. So I'll be as brief as possible. But what I always say is it is the most wonderful time of the year, because I believe the opening of the school year is like the most wonderful time of the year. So much happening, so many things going on, so many dreams, so many things being anticipated, so much work, and just all for children, to advance children. So I've told a couple of stories about my great nieces, and I'm going to end with one tonight. They were so excited because they were going to do a praise dance at their church on Sunday. So they invited everybody that they came in contact with. So of course we went to see them praise dance. But what I did not know was, in addition to that, they would also be reciting Bible verses. And one is 4 and one is 7. And they did an absolutely fantastic job to just hear them memorize these verses and articulate and not be nervous. And as I sat in church and I listened to them, it made me think about me growing up in church. And when we grew up in church, we learned Bible verses, we learned how to speak, we learned about manners, we learned how to respect my elderly relatives and elderly neighbors, we learned how to be kind to people, and those are the kind of things that were reinforced in school. And a lot of times now when we talk about schools and religion, we talk about keeping them separate, and there is a place to keep some things separate, but there are also things where we can work together, and I saw an example of that Sunday in their church, because what they're learning in church, it is valuable to them in school, and what they're learning in school is valuable to them in church. And we have partnerships with churches. I know I'm going to leave some out, but some just come to mind because they do so many extra things to support students in Newport News Public School. And one is Abbey Baptist, Gethsemane Baptist, and also First Baptist Denby, and Providence Baptist. But Providence Baptist and Gethsemane had summer programs, and they actually utilized our portals that we had for Newport News Public School students. So they were able to build on the work that our teachers do throughout the year with our students. So there are so many ways that churches and schools can come together, and we need you, and we need you. So I'm going to end it on that. I'm going to say that this is the last weekend before school opens, so please spend some quality time with your kids and do something special and create those special memories and be prepared to begin a great school year. Thank you so very much. This meeting is adjourned.